Greetings to all, this is Aridif, that is A-R-I-D-I-F, this is it spelled. We understand that all of you desire to have a deeper understanding, in-depth co-creation for the subject at hand, encompassing 7 chakras, the way that your emotions connect to this concept, the way that your belief systems connect to this concept, and also the way to expand into your newer chakra systems, the 5th dimensional energy. So we will share with you in depth this construct. First of all, the 7 chakras. What are these chakras? In simplest terms, they are electromagnetic style of energy that is embedded into your auric field, into your physical body, emotional body, mental body, and your own constructual, energetic, co-creative mechanism that carries energies of the theme points of the human collective consciousness. Each of these a specific area designated to flow with energy, to collect information, to share information, and to co-create experiences within your own construct of consciousness. Let us first go through what these chakras are. We understand that many of you know the basic understandings, but we wish for you to understand the chakra systems as they are relating to the evolution of the soul. When you are first looking at your first chakra, this is called the root chakra. This energy is often thought of as the part of you that exists. And yes, this is true, but it is much more than this. When you look at your first chakra, imagine approximately 2/3 the size of your closed fist at the very bottom point of your spinal column, at the edge of your tailbone. By the anus in your physical body lies the very first chakra. This energy is what you would call red in color. Although chakras can be different energies and colors than what we express in this moment, this is the most accepted and understood of energies. In our perspective, they all carry division of light consciousness in spectrums from white to black, and all of the energies between are expressed through each human consciousness a bit different. For instance, all of you carry the red root chakra to a degree. Some of you carry such a light red it would almost appear to be a very pale pink, while some of you carry a very dark, almost red-black color of energy in your root chakra. It is different from those who perceive and different from those who experience. So each of you carry different energetic manifestation of that chakra. Let us go into the first chakra specifically. Yes, it is part of your physical experience, your physical existence, your tie into the earth collective consciousness. That is the very largest, most known part, but also it carries your own ability to feel safety, your ability to feel connected with the earth itself and the environment in which you are in. It correlates deeply with the first density. When you look at the first density, what is it that you see? You see the very elemental nature of the physical existence around you. You see all of those things that are non-living to the human perspective. You see earth, fire, rock, water, electricity, ether, and all of the connection processes that inanimate objects share, either molecularly or co-creational energy. They are similar to one another. In your perspective, they lack a true depth of consciousness, and although their consciousness is not as deeply embedded as human consciousness, it is because it is much smaller. So imagine all of those first density beings connecting to one another, creating organic material, that organic material co-creating larger life forms. Each one of you are made with undescribable numbers of these co-created consciousnesses with one another to create the entirety of your physical body. So although it lacks the amount of consciousness that you have, there is consciousness there nonetheless. The correlation between the two are easily approached when understanding that the basic and fundamental building blocks of all creation start in both the first chakra and the first density. Going up to your second chakra, this again, for the majority's sake, is one color, but the spectrum between those who perceive and those who create are much different and vast. The energy in that construct is considered orange in your own color spectrum. When you look at the chakra, it deals with the expression of sexuality, your masculine and feminine energies, and also the spring and fire of the artistic nature of the soul, the creative forces and the soul essence. As it leaves the second chakra, entering the third, it becomes more so of an action quality or a deep yearning quality. You look at that chakra and correlate it with your second density and what you receive. The second density also a place where multiplication of consciousness occurs. Before the second density, in order for a consciousness to shift, it must first either co-create or go through its own version of evolution. When a water molecule is transmuted into the hydrogen and oxygen molecules that create the molecule of water, it occurs a manifestation of change, a shifting of its own vibrational consciousness. In your perspective, when you die and enter a new body, or consciousness shifts, in the first density perspective, that division and multiplication is what causes the changing of energy. So second density is the very first place of multiplying the energy instead of division. The first place where, when co-created collective consciousnesses come together, they are able to create the more complex versions of conscious physical energies. So now you look at the second density energy. You also see that energies are not living through the idea of mentality. They are living mostly in that reactive energies. As most humans use your logical mind, the entities in second density live off of their reflexive constructs. They live off of their own instincts. That energy correlates quite well. Sexuality, masculine, feminine, your own drawn, living inside of that animalistic version of sexuality that many humans are either going through now or have transmuted to some degree in their experience. The multiplication of sexuality. When two entities engage sexually, they are able to create another life form. That is the same in your second density energy and your second chakra. So going from the second chakra to the third, you have your sense of self. This energy in the color spectrum is yellow. And again, multiple spectrums from those who perceive and those who experience. That sense of self is what most humans understand, but it goes beyond just your sense of self. It goes into the place of understanding and growing into the third density. The third density, where once you came from instinct, you are now going into intuition. You are now going into the logical constructs in basis of free-flowing thought. You are able to see backwards and forwards in time. When in second density, you are perceiving the now moment. You are perceiving only that moment itself and creating the instinct of that around you. Instead of the constructs of memory being complex, it is only cellular storage in the animal or those that are second density comparatively. Although it can trigger the remembrances of certain ideals, by no way is the memory energy very deep in the second density comparatively. Now that humans in the third density look back and forward into time, they have a greater understanding about their environment, their selves and their motivation. As we said, the energy in the second chakra of creativity, as it leaves, it experiences and creates yearning sensations, desires to act, desires to motivate yourself to move forward. So now you see not only the energies individually, but now you see how they are creating with one another. Going to the heart again, spectral of colors to the perceiver and experiencer, but green in nature is the color or the average spectrum energy. In the heart chakra, there is unconditional love, there is lack of judgment, there is connection from your energy to another. In the fourth density, as it correlates unconditional love, either for oneself or for the collective understanding, the true nature of oneness. The fourth density also encompasses expanding beyond your sense of self to a sense of connection. This means, just as in your heart chakra, you are connecting to others' energies, connecting to your own energy, and connecting to all things that you feel a connection with. Moving up into your own throat chakra, this energy, again, the spectrums are various, but the energy averagely for the co-created Earth Collective for the throat chakra is blue. This energy is a representation of going beyond connection into the diving deeps of understanding and knowledge. It also represents communication for the entity. As you go into that fifth density, it is also an expression of communication. Communicating what is in your heart, what is in your sense of self, what is in your masculine and feminine energy, and what is in your existence. All of the other chakras below starting to connect upwards, creating more themes of co-creative mechanisms. Now go into the fifth density also, an energy where you are either going into the wisdom of all things, the metaphysical nature of the universe, the co-creative connections between yourself and others, or you can find out what it is about yourself in the things around you that are only relevant to yourself in that other version of fifth density. Both of these energies co-create not only with communication, but wisdom and the way that you express yourself into the universal and into the galactic and solar system collectives you are a part of. So as you are exploring both your communicative and your co-creational knowledge center base, one minute. So as you are exploring your communication and your knowledge base center, you co-create the fifth density and the fifth chakra. Going into the sixth chakra or third eye, that energy again inside of a spectrum but averagely represented as indigo. Indigo being a color that is between blue and purple, a very dark blue-purple. That color is very vibrationally connected to your third eye chakra. What is in the third eye? The third eye is the combination and culmination of your fourth and fifth chakra. In your chakra itself, it is the representation of the higher sight, the astral or ether vision. That vision co-created from a place of deep understanding of oneself and also the greater universe. Translating into the sixth density, you see a mastery of physical reality, a combination and culmination of exploring your wisdom and exploring your own connection, love, and deep feelings of unconditional love. What we've expressed previously, as well as Rob, that when you are connecting in that sixth density, you are connecting to all things that you desire to understand, and understanding intimately all things that you connect to. So in that energy, if you desire to know about something, it first must feel important to you, or it will feel important to you after you co-create with it. There is no way to understand wisdom without intimacy in the sixth density energy. There is no way to understand the nature of anything that you are not fully willing to connect to upon the deepest levels of both understanding and love. Going into the seventh chakra, your crown chakra, this energy is the combination and culmination of all chakras henceforth. When you look forward into your experience as higher density beings, you must first go through your own crown chakra in order to integrate more of your higher fractal consciousness. It is what is perceived as the bridge to your higher self and to your etheric nature. When you go into the seventh density, you are leaving the physical reality, going into the non-physical essence that is your soul. That energy is a representation of all themes upon your earth collective consciousness fully achieved and understood. For those of you who have a fully opened crown chakra, that means you are fully connected and all of your chakras run at 100%. Most of you have wide open crown chakras, but wide open to the perspective of the energy and where your chakras are in that moment. When we have told other human consciousnesses that your crown chakra is very open, in fact, it is more open than the majority of humans, it only means that your other chakras are also open very deeply and very widely and allowing access to information. So this gives you the understanding of not just the explanation of chakras, but the way it incorporates themselves into the physical universe and non-physical consciousness. This is important. Why? It is important because that is what the chakra is, a communicative format from the essence of your soul in a non-physical state to the physical reality inside of your own experiential quality. When you perceive your own emotions, what you are truly perceiving is the way that your non-physical energy is transmitting experiences into your physical reality, and how well in balance or in tune the vibration of your experience is going to your soul's understanding. What we mean by this is your non-physical self knows the true nature of the universe. It is whole. It connects to all other parts of yourself, while your physical incarnation does not know all that your non-physical soul does. Let us use an example. I am upset at my neighbor because they have the goal to interrupt my dinner with noise. It feels bad emotionally in your stomach, in your third chakra. It feels bad in the lower bowels, between your first and second chakra. It feels as if you are angry, you are getting pins and needles in your skin. Your face is turning flush or red. Your breathing becomes erratic. All of that energy is a physical manifestation of your chakras transmitting signals. What signal are you receiving that creates such imbalance in your physical body? The signal that you are receiving that creates the imbalance is that your experience is not in par with what your soul knows and understands. Your soul knows that you have co-created this with your neighbor. Your soul also knows why you created it with your neighbor. You created with it because of your belief systems about your neighbor, your belief system about your inherent right to peace and no others utilizing their free will in that moment. Your soul also knows that when you are upset and angry, that your first and third chakra, your sense of self and safety mechanisms, are not flowing the way that they are meant to flow in the open, non-restricted and free version that you can experience in your physical body. The soul does not do this as a punishment for that experience. It does that energy of giving your body those physical cues or red flags so that you yourself can understand that there is something that is not correct within your own energy of thinking, beliefs. That is also the representation of how your belief systems tie into your chakras. If your belief system expresses something that is different than your soul's understanding and knowing, then your belief system becomes integrated into that chakra, so that anything that is experienced that is opposite of what the belief system says can be triggered to give your physical body and your emotional body those cues. Those of you who are highly mental can retrain your own mental bodies to receive and understand this also, but it is much more difficult to cue your mental body before your emotional and physical body reactive mechanisms. There are multiple reasons for this, but for the majority, the emotional body is the censoring, active, perhaps a guardian, if you will, of your own chakra system, belief system, and alignment or disalignment with those energies. So when your own senses are telling you that something is missed inside of your chakra system, inside of your emotional energy, your mental body can take you there. Hence the 10-step process and the way that it was created. It is created first of all to have your own understanding of being present and aware of your own internal systems. Secondly, the emotions that spring prompt you to look at the mental body and pattern of mentality that comes into that experience, and that helps you look and define your belief systems. If you are looking at the layers and the way that it works, we will place it perhaps in a diagram that can give you a bit more depth of understanding. The first experience as you are going down into that neighbor reference that we gave you previously is hearing noise. Your thought goes into the concept or internal dialogue similar to this. What am I hearing? It is disturbing me. It is not proper for music to be played at this time of day or night. I wonder who could be rude enough to interrupt. All of these thoughts are retaining around that belief system that you are entitled to quiet and that no one's free will should overpass your own. The belief system in the first place is what co-created the experience, the energy that you had placed into your interaction and dealings with the neighbor from the moment you met that neighbor were also co-creating and, the moment that you met that entity, and every interaction that you had co-created a coalesced energy of that experience coming into your fruition. The mindset and emotions of your interactions being negative or positive also, in addition to creating that experience. Then comes the emotion of anger. Right after, the mental process allows you to go there. Because it is not in alignment with your belief, and because it is not in alignment with your soul's understanding, that is where the emotions start flaring. It is only then when you realize that in the first place, that this co-creation is something that is not in alignment with what you desire. When you were thinking your thoughts, this is a second-hand opportunity to see that co-creative mechanism. The very first part of the thought pattern seems so normal to all of you that you miss that part most of the time. You only understand there is a problem once the anger or emotion that follows comes into your experience. After the emotion comes, the triggering of the physical body comes. That allows you then to go back into your mental state, observe and understand the steps that brought you there. So once you understand that there is a problem, that your physical body is out of alignment, that your belief system and emotional energy are out of alignment, you are already at the precipice of your experience. You are already at the climax of that moment. That is where you are able to integrate the 10-step process. But in order to achieve going into this state in a more mental way, it is difficult to retrain yourself to do, but can be done. When you are going through that same process, your mental state starts going through all of the same things. How dare someone play this energy in the time of day? Why would someone infringe upon my free will? You understand negative thought versus positive thought, not in the inherent definition of negative and positive, but in the defined version of your own prescripted constructs of those words. You understand the difference between a negative feeling thought and a positive feeling thought. If you are able to train your awareness to the very first negative thoughts, then you can bypass the emotional flux that goes with it. You can catch yourself in that moment and instantly redirect. The last step of the 10-step process of the cleansing purity of your own emotional energy. In that moment you can say to yourself your soul's true understanding. If you are able to catch that energy with your mental body first and not allow it to go through the paces of your emotional body and with your belief systems. Many of you who have worked within the 10-step process for long enough are able to catch yourself before you get there and even change a belief when first encountering it. That is the mastery you have at your own fingertips if you desire. The practice of that energy is what helps you see the patterns of mental energy, of emotional energy, and of your belief systems that create the negative experience in the first place. The way that all of these things are connected you can see now in a more intimate detail, but the way that your actual energy works is a much more detailed definition. The mechanics themselves are much more in-depth than just the simple layout of the understanding of how they co-create with one another. For instance, when you are working from a period of your experience that is positive, the vibration of your soul's essence goes into your experience of the chakra system, and positive thought and vibration are 100% in alignment with your belief systems and do not actively affect your chakras in a negative way or negative side effects emotionally bleeding through its physical ailments. So you are not noticing that energy. But when the negative experiences come through, it triggers all of those emotional energies and physical energies. But why is this? The mechanics of the energy are different. Love is a vibration that is very different in the way it is transmitted from the non-physical self to the physical self. When you see love, if you were to draw it out in a line of energy, it would be an energy that goes up and down in deep waves that are compressed. And when you are seeing that version of love, it is up and down and so compressed it connects to all of the parts of your chakra energy. It transmutes through the essence of geometry in a non-physical way through your chakra systems out into your DNA and announces that energy to your body. The love vibrational energy creates more complex geometrical patterns and the thicker, wider and higher waves. That means when it goes through your chakra, it is interacting with almost every part of your chakra. Then when it goes out, it feels positive, it feels good, it feels blissful. When that same negative experience, thought or processing comes from your lower fractal consciousness outside of your physical body, the non-physical essence, it comes in very short and long winding energetic threads, less complex geometrical patterns, and it does not touch nearly 1/10 of your chakra. In some cases less than 1/35 of your chakra. So the energy is dispersed. It is the same as throwing a handful of sand several inches to a few pebbles of sand several feet. That heaviness or energy of compression that positive and love energy gives comes through you so wholly, it feels good. that sparse energy that comes creates an empty sensation. That is why most of you who go through negative emotional experiences experience what you call a feeling of emptiness. It is not truly that your body feels empty. It is that consciousness and the way that it is compressed and the way that it is expressed feels less than normal. It feels not as condensed. It feels not as full in yourself. And that is why the negative experiences mechanically work and feel negative to your physical body. When your DNA shoots out the signals that are sent from the non-physical transmission of negative emotions or negative thoughts, it creates a deformed version of natural energy. And when a deformed version of natural energy occurs, it does not feel good in your physical, mental, emotional body or your belief systems. That is why that disbursement feels so much more negative than that very compressed energy does.
I wanted to thank everyone in our Patreon who helps support me have the free time to do the extra channeling here. If you're interested, go to ET Whisper Patreon, which is patreon.com/ETWhisper. $22 a month, you get access to 2 different channelings per month. One where everyone sends in ideas, we put it in a poll and vote for it. The second is a Q&A. Everyone sends in their questions and their desire of Aridif or Treb answering it, and then we ask the questions, and then we go through them randomly, and whoever's questions get picked goes there. So if you want to be a part of that to get access to that extra stuff, and you want to help support us get more content out on YouTube, the link is in the description. Love you guys. Thank you guys for your support, and I'll see you on the other side.